we don't have any platform where we can reach political people and which they are able to consider even our request. So that's the scenario where we are in. And people like Ravi Alumanchali, who went for mayor in Rochester, and Ramesh Verma went for here, and Dr. Anil Kumar. There's a lot of young people, they are also interested to go forward in the political area. And until we come forward with some kind of idea platform where we can educate them and support them, we cannot see in a big number or good influence from political parties. And we never get recognized. So my request was like, everyone, let's have some political action committee in Michigan so that the similar kind of thing can be considered in all other states. So one point of, if you can see like after 2 years or 3 years, we can have a big number.
Where our shortfall may be as Indian community. So it behooved upon us to then go step back and say, how can we get together? Because we are a small group of people. There are about 5 million people in the country, 90,000 Indians in Michigan, state of Michigan. But in this area, maybe, 30, 40,000 or more. And then what we have done is we have divided ourselves into sectarian divisions. And so it becomes hard for us to achieve any political gain. Because number one, we are individualistic in our culture. We always are individual based. We are not community based society. So we all rise up to the sky. Each one of us excels in everything. But our basic platform remains very low. When we talk about other communities, like the Jewish community, because that's our role model, they are excelled, but they have also pulled the platform of the community at a much higher level. So the jump for individuals who may not be that excellent is easier. And that's what we need to do. How do our children, grandchildren, our people who are coming in, new immigrants, how do they fit into and get the advantage of expressing their excellence? So over the time, it basically dawned on me is, especially when I was trying to talk in temples, and talk in places where there were the non-for-profit organizations, they would not let me do that because I was political and I was Democrat, so they would say, no, we can't do it. And they're right, nothing wrong. So we have to overcome those. And we have, as Babu said, we have to start an organization or have an organization of unity. We can keep our partisan thoughts and ideology completely to ourselves. So as a Democrat, I will behave like a Democrat, I will support the Democrats, etc. But when it comes to the Indian person, how do we reach across the aisle and elevate our community member? We have now the purpose and the structure of this. And this is again very, very preliminary. That's why we have you gathered here, because all of you are great leaders and we need your input to format such. It should be like a Constitution of the United States at the end, which is the best document to live for as our organization. So we need to consolidate the Indian community to form a bipartisan political organization. Okay? Because one great thing that I saw when I was running is closest friends of mine, some of them, and I don't know I should call them friends, but I still will. And they said, well, I can't support you because you're a Democrat, I'm a Republican. I said, that's fine, I respect everybody's views. But it said, so how do we get to change people's ideas that the identity, the segregation is actually what we're looking for in terms of political strength and political gain. So how do we get over those? So if we get both parts in this organization, then we are one. Number two is create political awareness, so we can have then meetings, etc. And either by social media, meetings, word of mouth, telephone calls, create awareness about Indian culture and values of Indian origin and values among Indian origin kids. The same thing. This is part what we have to go ahead and say, hey guys, you need to get, because guess what? by this networking, by knowing our Indian culture, by being part of this Chanakya, you may promote yourself into a better social advantage. Create participation in election process, number by registering voters, helping the community to go out to vote. Because then the next thing was in temples, non-for-profit places, I couldn't go because I was a Democrat. I couldn't put up registration for voters or because, well, you're running as a candidate. You can't do that. And that's fine. But this organization then could, because then it's a bipartisan. So as long as you're bipartisan, we could talk in temples, we could talk in meeting places. Any place will be open to us as long as we are bipartisan and we do not promote one party over the other. Does it mean that therefore if I'm a part of this, then I cannot go and support my Democrat friends or Republican friends? Absolutely not. You be as partisan as you want outside. But when it comes to coming into this establishment and this environment, then we have to keep our mind open to where Indian community is concerned, we will support. And of course, even individually, if you don't, we're not going to hold you, say now you cannot be part of the Chanakya because you didn't give money to the Democrat, or that's fine. But as long as we have a structure that can allow you to be open enough, I mean, that's the whole part of the Indian culture, that we are inclusive. And so if we have shown that we are inclusive in India with 130 religions, etc., at least we should be able to get into one organization and be inclusive of the other party, at least for that purpose. Next please. Education. So the other thing that I realized also was how little our children were involved in the political process and how little we ourselves knew of the political process. It's funny but not funny, because some people, actually the goodness of their hearts, they came and said to me, he said, I looked for your name, I didn't see it on the ballot, so I put it as a write-in. But they were in the wrong district, correct? They didn't know it, and I knew what was happening, but I didn't want to say, no, you were in the wrong. I just said, okay, thank you so much. But what it gave me the idea was, our community needs to know a lot more about what the process is. And so
when I say everybody, the Indian community comes together. Definitely Sri Lanka is, the waters drifted it away, but it was part of India if you look at the old maps.
Yes.
But one of the things is we all come together to Anil's idea. What he and I were talking today, coming on about this is, I would call it the Chanakya Institute for Public Policy, not politics, but for public policy. Because we want to know public policy. How does it affect our life? It's the public policy at the local level, at the school district level, at the regional county level, at the state level, and at the national level, affects our daily life. So think about that. And the second thing is, I agree with Anil, you create a separate PAC and you put money in it only to support an Indian candidate.
And then tell you why I'm running for governor, and then perhaps make it more of a dialogue as opposed to a monologue. So I'm a lifelong Michigander, and I love the state of Michigan. I've chosen to stay here and to raise my family here because I do feel that we are very fortunate to be living in the state of Michigan. I went to law school, I was practicing law, and I decided to run for the state house because I really care about making sure that the decisions that are made at the Capitol that impact us every single day, from the minute our electricity turns on our alarm to when we brush our teeth and turn on the water, to the roads we drive on, to the schools that our kids go to, and on and on and on. And so I served for 3 terms when I was in the House, and then I won a special election and went over and served for 8 years in the Michigan Senate. I was the first woman to be elected a leader of a caucus in the Michigan Senate, and I was the leader of the Democratic caucus. During those 4 years, I was the top Democrat in the state government and was fighting on a lot of different fronts with Governor Snyder and the Republican-controlled Senate, the Republican-controlled House, as well as an Attorney General I don't see eye to eye with very frequently. And when I left, I honestly thought I will go back to a private life in the private sector. I was practicing law and I was teaching at the University of Michigan when my prosecutor got caught up in a scandal in the Lansing area and resigned. The judges asked me to come in and head up the prosecutor's office, and it was not something I'd ever anticipated doing, but because I care about who our leaders are, because I feel like it's important that we have people who serve with integrity, who keep in mind that they work for the people of the area, and because I think public service is not only important and rewarding, but it's a privilege, I decided that was something that I would take on. And so I was fortunate to get to know Lisa, who introduced me, and I learned a lot. You can live in a community almost your whole life and be fortunate not to see a whole other side to it that a lot of people confront every single day. So I'm really grateful that I had that experience. My name is Gretchen Whitmer. I'm running for governor, and I'm here today to converse, to engage with different members of the Indian community. One of the things that makes Michigan so wonderful is the diversity that we have, and thinking about what's happening on the national level and all the concerns that we have as individuals in the state and citizens of Michigan and immigrants to Michigan is how do we make sure that our state is one where people can thrive and to be safe and to be confident that our government works for us and protects us and fights for us. And that's really what we want to talk about across the state, but in particular with members of the Indian community. And so I really appreciate the invitation and the conversation that we had today. I hope and expect that this is the first of many.